So why is it important to meditate? Well, meditation helps us get out of mental stream of activity. That's our normal, a lot of people's normal awareness, constant making sense, explaining the situations, mostly to themselves, comparing, judging, those mental state of being. It's very linear. That linear physical mind thinks it should have for example, an answer for tomorrow, for the future, and it is supposed to know what will happen and how it is going to happen. It's very overtaxed physical mind, poor physical mind. It's not even designed to know all the answers about future. But we are trained in a way, in a sense, to that we are supposed to know. So meditation helps us get out of that mental state of being, and that's where all actually stress comes from. Stress doesn't come from your boss, your spouse, your kids, the weather. Stress comes from how you think of all of this. So to get out of the mental state, where do we go? Where do we go when we get out of mental state in meditation? We may go to our subconscious mind. We may go to the unconscious mind. We may go to connective automatic mind. We may go to template reality. We may go to our higher mind. We may go to the spirit. That's our true identity, the non-physical. We may go to the soul level or even over soul level. Through the 9 levels, so to speak, 9 levels of consciousness, who we are fundamentally is non-physical. It's our true nature. And the non-physical, that which is us, lowers its frequency through the 9 levels of consciousness until we reach the dense reality, the dense physical reality. It's like who we are. The consciousness is the light. We beam the light down, all the way down, through 9 levels of consciousness, all the way down to the physical reality that you call your life. So the physical life is really laser focused point in the linear time-space reality. In non-physical, where we come from, so to speak, there is no boundary, where because it's non-physical. Boundaries is belongs only to physical. So where we come from, non-physical, there is no where you start, where I end. It's all is. That's what they call oneness. So even we focus through the 9 levels of consciousness down to the dense physical reality, we still have connection back to where we come from. We still have connection, and we can have access to all the 9 levels of consciousness: the oversoul level, the soul level, the spirit level, the collective unconscious mind level, the higher mind level, template reality level, the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind level. We have access to all of these levels of consciousness. Now, it might seem very interesting that a hypnotherapist is talking about the importance of meditation. The reason I'm talking about is, well, first, in my self-hypnosis class, I was asked many times that, what is the difference between self-hypnosis and meditation? the answer to there are many different aspects, different ways to answer that question. That's not what we are focusing today. So the difference between self-hypnosis and meditation. What I can say is on the brainwave level or the experiential level, it's quite similar. It's both. It's just the same. We use different techniques to create a very similar state, meditative state and hypnotic state, very similar experiential wise, experience wise. So um, the a hypnotherapist doesn't actually. Okay, let's put it that way. Through hypnosis, we have access to. We know as fact. We have access to past memories. We have access to even past life memories or future life memories or life between lives memories. That means the memories that which beyond this lifetime. We have all this access again and again. It's proved. So a hypnotherapist actually doesn't create these memories. All we do is to facilitate the access to what is already there in your memory bank, so to speak. So it's very interesting to know that it's already there. All we do is to create a state from which you can have access to those memories. And of course, you don't have access to those memories when you are in your normal mental busy mind state. And I am always fascinated by what access people can tap into in hypnosis. Always fascinates me. So to get a professional help, as a hypnotherapist to help, normally people don't do it on a daily basis. You don't get hypnotized by a professional on a daily basis. Well, you can, but normally that's not what people do. But you can meditate on a daily basis. It's more affordable. It's easier to act on, and the way I'm talking here about meditation is not really like sitting half an hour, 1 hour cross-legged, a certain way of meditation. It can be easier than even than that. Could be many times a day. You pause, you breathe, and you get out of that mental state just by being. You can stand and pause for just a few seconds. You can sit and pause just for a few seconds. You can walk and pause just for a few seconds, many times a day, throughout the day. That's how you can easily get out of the busy mental state of being. Now we're going to talk about why we do that. So it could be very simple, just to, allow yourself to be there, breathe. Nothing particular going on in your mind. As I said, the physical reality is the focus of our light, the consciousness coming down through non-physical, through the 9 levels of consciousness. On the soul, oversoul level, or the soul level, spirit level, or the higher mind level, there is actually no time. Time does not really exist in real reality. That's what we call infinity and eternity. Eternity is not from beginning to the end of time-wise, because if there's a beginning and if there's an ending, it's not eternity. Eternity is here and now. All is here and now. So that's what eternity and infinity is about. No time and no space. and everything simultaneously exists. It's like a book. A book. Now, a book right here, chapter number 1 and chapter number 20, they coexist simultaneously. And this book doesn't need time to exist. We often use a book to describe a person's physical life anyway. So, okay, this is actually a good analogy. So the book of your physical life is actually written already before you were born. So going through the life experience is not to write your book, is to, of course, you can rewrite your book, but your book was already written before you were born by you. So to go through the physical reality is to more like read your book, not to write your book. The book, again, does not need time to exist. Yet when you read the book, when you go through your life from chapter to chapter, you thus create a side effect. When you read the book, you create a side effect that you call time to exist. Because you need time to read the book from chapter to chapter. But the book itself exists not in time, at the same time. So to read the book, that's why we say the book is written, your life has already laid out for you. Why do we go through the life chapter by chapter? Is to experience it, experience the book. And of course, you have free will because you can decide how you experience your life. The book is already written, but you can, read your book happily, or you can read your book unhappily. You can lay on different couches to read your book. You can go to a beach and read your book. How you read the book, you can read the book slowly, or you can read the book fast. How you read a book is how what your free will is about. Is to how you create the experience reading the book. And of course, you can read the book twice, 3 times, many times, and sometimes every time, maybe you have this experience already. Every time you read the same book, you have different experiences. And that is what we call physical life, to have the experience of reading a book. So, therefore, actually, time, our physical time, is a side effect by us shifting through different parallel realities and different parallel realities, different pages of the book, through the pages of your life, of your book. So, who wrote the book then? That is your higher mind. Now, as a reader, the reader, that is your physical mind, of course, you don't know. When you read the book, of course, you don't know what the next chapter has in store for you. You read page after page. And of course, you can guess as you read along, and sometimes you do guess correctly as the stories unfold. But it may not be so fun to constantly having to live in fear, mentally guessing what's next, what's in your future, while you actually, what you could do is to simply enjoy reading the book. So to meditate, in a way, in this analogy, is to get in touch with the writer of the book, because the writer of the book does know what's in the future for you. And the reader, the physical mind is the reader, the higher mind is the writer knows. And the reader, the physical mind, is not designed to know the future. The physical mind is designed to enjoy the reading of the book. So the higher mind, the one who actually knows the future, so that's when you meditate. You realize the existence of the whole book already. So there's no guessing, there's no belief, there's no need to believe in anything, and there is even no need to have faith. So when you meditate, You can get into that state of pure knowing. Of course, the higher mind, even though when you meditate, the higher mind is not going to tell you who you are going to marry. It's not going to tell you which date is your promotion date. It's not going to tell you how much you're going to win in the lottery. It may, of course, depending on how you communicate with what's relevant in your book of your life. It may not. Everything is relevancy. So what the physical mind does, the reader, is to focus on one page at a time in this book. I was born and raised in China. So my birth, my formal education, my first 4 jobs, they all happened in China before I moved to Canada. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I had this desire, this dream of living abroad, living a life abroad. And I just get so excited about that idea of living my life out of China. See, so that's a moment, actually. Where does excitement come from? When you think about an idea, at that time when I thought about living outside of China, I was so excited. The excitement actually is a language that your higher mind uses to communicate with you. That's where the feeling of excitement comes from. So when you feel excited about one idea, it is your higher mind say, yeah, that's I have for you in the later chapters of your book. And of course, I had no means, I had no ways, I had no ideas and how I could make that happen to live, abroad. Yet I knew this idea excited me. So in my late 20s, pretty much I knew, not just abroad, I knew I wanted to go to Canada. Still at that time in my late 20s, I had no means, I had no money. I had no connection with Canada. I just had no ways to know how this was going to happen. But yet again, thinking about it, the idea excited me. What happens is in my early 20s, I was on one page of this book. And on my late 20s, I moved on to another page, another maybe chapter, but still, when I was on a certain page of my book of life, this page actually does not contain Canada, because Canada comes later in my life. But the page when I was reading, this page does not contain. So that's my focus of my physical mind. When my physical mind focuses on that, and it can get in touch because the excitement is leaking out from the future page, letting me know that this is the way to go. But yet the physical mind could not at that time figure out how this was going to happen. Just because it's not the physical mind's job to figure that out. Physical mind its job is to focus on the page I'm reading. And this page I'm reading does not contain Canada. So how am I going to make that happen? To make that happen, I do need to get out of this page. And of course, again, physical mind belongs to this page. To get out of this page is to get out of the physical mind, which figures things out, analyzes, judges, rationalizes, do all sorts of thinking stuff. And it's not a thinking that is going to get me out of this page. So it's quite paradoxical thinking about it. So to get out of this certain page, I need to either read on, continue to read on, or actually to meditate. When I meditate, I get out of time and I get into this knowing of the whole book, knowing that the whole book exists, even though I was on one chapter, on one page. The same example could apply to how I became a hypnotherapist. I didn't come to Canada knowing that that was going to be my profession. I didn't even know what hypnotherapy was. If you were to tell me, if you were to ask me what was hypnotherapy, probably at that time when I first came to Canada, the best answer I could give you was it helps people to sleep. Um, so what happened to me to become hypnotherapist? It was actually just to read one page at a time. So a chain of events happened. I followed them. I took one step at a time. I followed those chain of events because each step I took was natural, was easy, was exciting for me. And before I knew it, I became a hypnotherapist. And today I know to become a hypnotherapist was already written on the later part of this book of my life, even though when I went through the earlier chapters and the pages, I had no clue. The physical mind had absolutely no clue that was going to happen to me. But of course, I followed my writer, and this is the one of the best ever things that happened to me to become a hypnotherapist. So, physical reality. When we narrow down from through the nine levels of consciousness to this physical reality, the dense reality, this physical reality is just a snapshot of a film, a film, a roll of film, the old time film, not digital timing of the film. The roll of film has many frames, snapshots. So physical reality is one snapshot of the whole film. So that's it's dense, it's slow, it's limited. So the physical mind, as a product of moving through snapshots, the physical mind has very limited resources. All it has is past experiences or theories, and it's not limited. It, even theories, they don't really say much about the future. So one snapshot does not contain what it doesn't contain, the future. Yet when you meditate, this is to get out of one snapshot so that you have the whole bigger picture, the whole film. Now, why do I know this? Again and again, through my work, hypnotherapy work, it is confirmed again and again that each one of us, we do know much more than what we think we know. The memories, the wisdom, the creativity, the resources, the knowledge, the information. We actually do know much more than we think we know because the higher mind knows, the physical mind thinks. So in hypnosis, people not only can have access to the nine levels, all the way back nine levels of consciousness, they actually can become their higher mind, become their oversoul, and become our God nature, the oneness. So in my work, I have witnessed again and again all of those ability, those moments to access and to become who we are. When I first started my work, hypnotherapy work, I actually had this question in my mind, the thought that is it possible to be enlightened, to help people enlightened by through hypnotherapy? I think it is when you are ready. So everything is perfectly unfolding perfectly, and but you look around the world today, this attitude can be very puzzling to accept because the society is geared up to convince you that you are supposed to know the future. The physical mind, you are supposed to figure out what is going to happen, how everything is going to happen. You're supposed to do all of those goal setting, goal achieving activities in a hard way. Yet our higher mind already knows everything. Wouldn't that be natural to just simply allow yourself to access in meditation the writer of your book rather than efforting into guessing work, into you know um, using the limitation of your mind to try so hard to find a future, while you can access simply that information and that knowingness, so that you align your physical mind with your higher mind. That's the easiest way. So which means you just can simply stand back and stand back far enough from stand back far enough from each every page, so that you can look at the bigger picture, the whole book, and so that you know there are no accidents. Everything is unfolding in a higher mind plan or divine plan. That's what some people call. And it is not really for us to understand when you're on one certain page. It's not for you to understand the whole book. And trying so hard to understand is really just to create the more limitation. So on each page you understand there's timing for everything, and you can change um, what you see you can, and leave and hand the rest back to 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 God to figure out. Thank you very much for watching.